Okay, it is 9:30 and I would like to call the meeting to order. We have a couple of things before we accept our delegation. So first of all, I would like the resolution for the adoption of the agenda, please.
Resolved, the agenda for the meeting will be adopted as circulated with the noted additions. New other business 6.7, disaster financial assistance program.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Strang, second. Any discussion? Anything else that needs to be added to our agenda for today's meeting? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. The next item we have is confirmation of the minutes, and we have one set of minutes from our last meeting on April the 26th. So if I could have the resolution for that one, please.
Resolved, the minutes of April 26, 2022 meeting of council be adopted as presented.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horbis, second. Councillor Spicer. Any discussion, corrections, changes to the minutes from April 26th? Hearing and seeing none.
There was one in the planning, I believe, that was to be held over to the 24th of May, and it's just a date change. I think it said the May, held off till May 22nd.
Okay.
And you'll have to locate it because I can't.
Sure, we can make that change
Yeah.
to make sure that it's the appropriate date.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it's the correct date, which is the 24th of May, I believe, is the next
Yeah,
meeting.
it's the 24th,
Yeah.
and then it said it was the 22nd.
Okay. Anything else from other members of council?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. And I should mention for those in the gallery that Councillor Boulanger is away today, and Councillor Vazarowicz is on Zoom as he's under the weather today. So he is here but not in the council chamber. Okay, so next up is the reception of delegations, and we have the Red River North Tourism presentation to St. Jude's. And then I believe Red River North Tourism is going to make a presentation to council, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'm not sure how you ladies want to do this. Entirely up to you. I don't know who's going to be doing the presenting, and I think Brett is here to take some pictures also. Because they will be going on our website and so on and so forth, so.
So if Debbie and Sandra want to join us, would that be okay?
Sure.
Our masks on or off for the food?
That will be entirely up to you. We're okay with them off as long as you're vaxxed, and I
Yeah.
think we are all vaxxed in the
Yeah.
council chamber here. They tell me I have arthritis in the hips, so I'm hobbling around and I'll probably be hobbling for quite some time. Yeah, that's so long awaited presentation. It's nice to see. It's too long to wait.
You're going to take one on your phone too?
I'll take.
Okay, perfect.
You're gonna join us though, too.
Yes.
No, I'm just going to take pictures.
Yes.
I'm just going to take pictures.
I can
that's
take
fine.
it for you.
That's all right.
That's okay.
Well, why don't you do the presentation?
That's
and
the
then
guy,
we'll
that's
set
his
up.
name and address.
We can have them in there for the
All the guys
presentation.
will take care. We got 2 days of a break right now, and then it's gonna come again.
Also, do you remember there's a room.
Okay, now we'll all step in.
Yes.
You were.
We're still-
Excuse me, can you please join us?
Marilyn.
Sandra,
Just to even it out.
scooch in a little bit more, Sandra. That's it. Very good. That looks lovely. Perfect.
Thank you.
Did you want to get in for one and then?
Yes,
Brad
you
will
won.
take it? We'll share those pictures.
For heaven's sakes.
We're not gonna let you get away with that.
Okay.
Perfect. Looks great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, being patient for waiting for this too, so, from December, yeah, so.
Only you join.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just gonna take 1 minute to tell you where Friends of St. Jude's are at. Even though COVID and all that was going on, we still managed to raise $30,000. The church is now, we've applied for a building permit to put on the new porch. We're taking good care of St. Clement's building because you do own the building. We have our architectural plans, they're all ready. We haven't had much communication with you guys, but we hope going forward we will have a lot more in the next 2 months. So, thank you, and thanks for this very much.
Thanks very much, Carol.
And Carol, you were saying that you've got an open house coming up in August?
Our open house is August 20th, and we hope to have the building complete at that. We have the ribbon cutting, so we'll be there. Yeah.
Okay, and having said that, once you have all the details and everything, if you forward it to the office, Brett can put it on our website.
For what?
For the open house, to
Oh.
advertise it so
Yeah.
we can get more people out. And we can also put it on our reader board if you so wish.
Yeah.
Like anything that you have going on to do with the church or the area, if you send it over here, we'll make sure that we put it wherever we can, whether it's the website or the reader board.
Okay, so who's the contact for that?
Brett, and she was taking the pictures.
Oh,
I think she's figured it out. Yeah, she's
Okay.
back in her office probably.
Okay, I'll talk to her before I leave.
Okay, perfect, thank
And
you.
if you don't catch her, I've got her contact information.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, have a good day, have a good day.
Thank you. It was nice to meet you.
That be in the minutes, it's under 17.1.
So it came by what? Okay. It's okay.
Thank you.
Just refresh.
No, that was from that one site. They're just getting the money from
Dave was just asking me, and I'm 2,400. That was from the line.
So have you finished with your winnings?
What's that?
Have you finished with your winnings?
Yeah, you have finished drinking your winnings?
What's that? I ain't even touched it.
Deepak's just asking if he's finished drinking his winnings.
Yeah, I believe Carol did. Because she was the first prize winner, wasn't she?
Yeah, she won one of the prizes. I think it maybe was third, because I know I pulled her name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Overall, there was lots of wine to drink for each winner.
Yes, yes. Okay, so now we have Red River North Tourism to make a presentation to council, and whenever you ladies are ready, just go ahead.
You want this door open?
It has to be open, yes, because we're in open session, yes. Thank you.
So first of all, thank you for having us come to speak to you. We enjoy coming here because you guys always ask us some good questions, and hopefully we'll be able to answer them. So I'm sure you've all seen the annual report, which is also on our website. So the last 2 years, there's been a number of things that we've had to kind of get caught up on, and things that we couldn't turn our minds to before. And one of them was we reviewed the Constitution and made some changes to that. The way it was written, we were not, grants that we were applying for, we were rejected because of some of the wording in the Constitution. So we've changed that, and that was passed at a board meeting. We've done a number of events over the year, and 2 years, and we continue to move forward. We did have to cancel our garden and art tour for 2020, but in 2021, with the thanks to our sponsor Cambrian, we were able to do a video garden tour, which is now up on our website. What we did was also highlight a number of local businesses in there with commercials, and some of them were actually kind of cute. So that took up far longer than we anticipated in editing, and now we know how long it takes. So this year we're going ahead with our garden and art tour. We'll be right now focusing on a greenhouse business that is in East Selkirk. And possibility of two actual gardens. We'll be offering a VIP ticket, 50 of them, and that will entail, we charter 2 buses for that number, so they will be bussed around the area. The Half Moon is hosting a Red River North market, and also providing 50 meal vouchers for the VIP tour. And one thing that we would like to know is, will your mural be up by July 17th?
I'm not sure. Sandra, have you heard any word on when it might go up?
Just have to contact Brandon and see, because that was this thing was the installation on the building, so that was.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was the next.
because part of that VIP tour would be to highlight 4 or 5 murals in the region. So if it's up, good.
What's the date again?
July 17th. So we're working on that now. Marilyn and her coordinator Meredith spent months with Steve on developing our new website. I hope you've all seen it. It's so hands-friendly. Oh, there we are,
It's
yeah.
up there now.
And it can be changed so easily now. They can instantly put things up and put things down. And so we worked on that, and we did receive a grant from Manitoba Chamber for that. Mary Lee's applied for 4 or 5 grants, and it's the only one that we've been successful at so far. Some we have not heard rejection of either, so that may be a good thing. And that's just a few of the highlights. Cambrian will, I believe, is on board again for this next garden tour, and we'll be videotaping it as well, so that we can share it. And so I think that's pretty much what we've been up to. If you have any questions.
Many organizations found they had to cut back and weren't doing as much during the pandemic, and in fact, we were busy. Well, the big word now is pivot, right? So we were pivoting, and Reading the Garden and Art Tour video is one of the initiatives that we pivoted on. And despite drought and smoke and a number of other setbacks, for a first-time effort, I think we did fairly well. So to actually videotape in the gardens this year during the tour, I think would be even more attractive. And this will become an annual thing that we'll be able to continue to promote around the year, rather than just the one-day event. So there could be lots of bonuses for that. We've strengthened our connections with Beaches of 59 area and all of those through the raffle in December, and we're really happy to make those connections. Some people who are doing social media and work on their websites are coordinating with our coordinator and ourselves, our executives. So communications is finally kind of opened up there. We've tried a couple of times over the years, but now we've kind of gotten a step in, and things are going well.
We also, of course, are going to do the Red River Paddle Challenge again this year. We're just waiting for Brad to get back to us on our meeting date and what we can do for that. What is interesting is that hopefully next year, with Skinner's Market might be up and running again, it would be, and Wayne has said we can host a market there every garden and art tour, so it'll highlight some of the local, far more local artisans than we've been able to showcase before, so we're quite excited about that.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Just so you know, there is some work being done on trying to get the market open at Lockport, but it will be on Synchronous side this year. Because, of course, they're using the parking lot they used to have,
Yeah.
so.
Councillor Spicer, though, that's a new one, though. That has nothing to do with the one that was at Skinner's previously.
Well, the thing will be is it'll be the people probably
Oh,
from that side.
probably, yeah. No, I'm
coming
thinking
over.
more the organizing
Yeah.
team?
No, it's a different team.
Yeah. Okay. I had a question and now it has escaped me. Go ahead, Sam.
I was just gonna ask, you said, is it Cyril Greenhouse that is going to be involved in now in the
No, Prairie Originals,
Prairie Ridge? Okay, yeah, they're just coming on.
this is my understanding from Mayor Lee. So what also is different is that at different times throughout the tour, like Kelly would be talking about butterfly gardens and that sort of thing. It's not totally confirmed, but Plants
Petals Plus.
Petals Plus
Petal Plus.
would be doing something on succulents. I don't know if you've been in their place, but they have a huge succulent operation there. So we're just waiting for confirmation from them. And at the rectory, there will be one of the master gardens either talking about the vegetables they grow there, or any questions that people may have. And the second phase of the secret garden has been worked on. So last year they just cleared it out. This year there'll be flowers and that sort of thing. So it's a little bit different. We still hope to have youth musicians, and we just want to change that a little bit, see if that would attract more people back. I think because it's outdoors, more people are coming on board. Like Homes for the Holiday, we have had to cancel one more year because homeowners are still very nervous about 800 people going through your house. So this is a little bit different. So, and if there's somebody on the side of the river that's interested in putting their garden in, or that we could ask, that would be helpful as well.
And I think sometimes when you approach the gardeners, they always assume that we're looking for a spectacular garden, and that's not necessarily the case. What we're looking for is, yes, it's nice to have a couple of those wonderful big lush gardens, but for the most part, we want gardens and gardeners that will inspire people who come to the tours. So they want to see, oh, that's different, maybe I could try that, or how do you do this in your garden? What can I do in my garden? So it's not just a matter of seeing which are gardens, which you can go and do. It's more a matter of what's here that gives me inspiration that I find delightful. And of course, ours is unique because we have the artists in the gardens and musicians, and having the market. This is going to be a maker's market, so this year we'll bring in the craft element, which we have not had. That we separate craft from art. And so the market will give us that opportunity to bring in something different. And, we look for beekeepers and other elements that will be of interest to people. So it's just not spectacular gardens.
I did remember my question, but you answered it. It was to do with the artists being in where the gardens are and in different places, and I'm sure that you work with the Arts Council in Soccer.
Yeah, we try to work with them. We also have, you'll see on our website, a section just for artists, which we will be promoting with them. So it's mainly local artists from the region. We have had poets and authors before, and we hope to perhaps find some of them that have written another book. And I know when we had Payless, the book on Payless in the first or second year, and they sold lots of books. And same with the lady that did the midnight train to Grand Beach or Victoria Beach. Yeah, she did very well. So this kind of helps too. So.
The screen right now is showing our Explore section, and we have 9 categories. So we can highlight the artists, we can talk about fishing and hunting, we can certainly review history, we've got trails in there, we've got all of our beaches, and it's not all just what's in Red River North. We recognize that the surrounding communities are part of our makeup too, so we're not afraid to promote some things that are maybe just on the fringe of Red River North, and collaborate with them. So, yeah.
Did you have your hand up? Go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
I just like to commend you guys, like, there's just, you're always moving forward. Your website, and I was involved with your committee, but your committee as a whole, you're just doing a great job. Like, you're forever improving things, you know, and looking for better
Thank you.
ways to do things.
We try hard.
Well, you guys are doing a good job.
I thought you were volunteering your garden for.
It's a little bit too small, but I'm proud of my garden.
I think I asked Dave that once before if he wanted to put his, I hear you have a beautiful place.
Yes.
Well,
He's still shaking his head.
He's got a very good garden, but it's more a vegetable garden. That's
Well,
okay.
that's okay, but you're looking
That's
for a
right.
vegetable gardener too, because that's the new trend. And as a partnering with South African District Horticultural Society, they kind of give us what's new and what we should be looking at and that kind of thing. So that's been very, very helpful with working with them.
I'm sure you'll have lots of 101 gardeners this year with the price of
Well, sure.
items in the grocery store that
Yeah.
people are going to try and attempt.
And it really started with the pandemic, you know, people started thinking, gee, well, what can I do at home? First of all, they were kind of homebound, and it's continued, so the interest has definitely grown. So I think this is a really good feature event for us.
Yes, and we'll be changing our wine raffle at Holiday Alley a little bit. We haven't kind of figured out what we're doing yet.
Change it up a little.
Change it up a little bit, and that this year would be something within the city of Selkirk. We don't know what we are interested in, but then we've done the
Just to rotate
round
everybody,
circle.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll look at future opportunities for fundraising, whether it's something for all three regions, or again, if we approach a region at a time. It depends on what it is that we support. So if you've got suggestions on things that require support that would fit with us, send them to us, because we're open. And I guess financials is the only last thing.
Yeah, the financials, I think,
We're still waiting for our auditor to finish his work.
yes, you have the, no, we have the financial statements to the end of December 2020. The passing of accounts, I don't know, I think you were given that, Sandra, at our AGM. We can still send them to you if you wish.
Yeah, just send them to the office, because if they come to the office, then they will get to council's agenda,
Okay.
so, yeah. Any other questions or comments from members of council? Go ahead, Sandra.
One of the other, and I don't know if this is the appropriate place to bring it up, but one of the other things that we had spoke about in our meetings was doing a movie night. And the three of and moving to
Yeah.
each of the RMs. Was that still on the
Yeah,
table?
that's still
That's
on
an
the-
outdoor event, maybe?
Yeah, that's still on the table.
Okay.
We have found someone that will run the whole thing for you for a price. If we don't charge admission, then we don't have to pay for certain things. So we're still trying to figure that out. Yeah, we would move it around like the Marine Museum would like to show it on the ship. You guys
That's
perhaps.
legacy club here, maybe
Yes.
for audience of
Maybe,
or-
yeah, Wayne has done it. He did a movie night a couple of years ago.
That's right.
On his property, and it worked quite well.
Yeah,
But, yeah, there's other options we could explore too, and it would be nice to do something.
yeah, and it would be like, we had thought maybe maybe 2 movies, or just try one to begin with, like a kids, kind of a kids night. And you can bring your children out to watch the movie, but we wanted to do only movies that were filmed in this area, because there's been lots, and they used East Selkirk a lot as well. And so it'd be kind of, I don't know, Red River North, Hollywood of the North, or something like that, that kind of a thing. But yeah, that's still on our.
That's still on the radar?
Yeah, we're still, might have to do a lot of horror movies.
There's a lot of that, yeah.
Okay, so if there's nothing else, if you just send those financial statements to the office, we'll have a look at them, and I'll just let you know that I guess there was a request for the paddle challenge, or did Sandra bring that forward? 'Cause I know we have it on our agenda a little bit later.
that was when we were, that suggestion of getting the massage therapist.
Yeah, so we're gonna discuss that a little later
Yeah.
today.
Yes, yes,
So going
because,
forward.
yeah, well.
Because I know that was your idea that
Yeah,
but
these ladies are always trying to, as Dave said, make things better and build on it all the time. And that was one of the suggestions they said, instead of us getting money, to do
Right.
something like that in kind. So
Mhm.
with our money.
Yeah, so
So-
we do need to collaborate a little bit more on that.
And we appreciate having Brenna on board.
Yes.
She is wonderful, lots of ideas. It's nice to have, you know, somebody under the age of. We won't go there. But, yes, and married to our coordinator, you get a lot more,
Yeah.
I don't know, not really modern ideas, but different ways of approaching things.
Yeah.
So we're enjoying her, so thank you so much.
well, and, oh, go ahead, Marilyn,
Well, and the
sorry.
other thing too that we need to continue our collaboration on is the possibility of what's happening with the heritage information, the heritage website, and some of that that has come up with Fraser. So, the treasurer's book, sale of some of that information. So I know Brennan is going to be speaking with some of you, and we'll continue to coordinate our efforts with her. So we have the ability now to sell things on our website that we didn't have before. So there may be some other cooperation that we can offer.
We do have a magazine that maybe we can put on with Red River North on their website too.
The newsletter?
No, the magazine, that Heritage.
Yes, that's what,
That's-
I think
that's
that's what
the
they're
one.
talking about, is to
Treasures,
be the
yeah.
Heritage Treasures
Yeah.
book, that'll be,
But I think the issue there is whether or not it's going to be for sale or it's available for free
Yeah.
or.
council's made the decision it'll be for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be. Okay. Well, we'll be talking with Brenna about that.
Yeah.
We assume she's our contact, so.
Yep.
So we'll continue that coordination.
Thank you again, and we truly appreciate your support to our organization every year. And I guess just one question is about the, you've approved the $8,000 to Red River North, have you?
I think we did.
I think we did last.
Yes.
So we'll check, do we have to come here to pick up the check, or it'll be mailed, or?
Yes, as soon as we get the financial statements, then the check will be taken
Perfect.
care of. You
Okay,
can contact Brenna further too.
Okay.
She can be your main contact for much of this.
okay, thank you so much.
Okay, have a
Thank
good
you.
day, ladies, and
Yeah.
thank you very much for coming in and doing the presentation and your presentation to us, so have a great day.
It's always great to see your smile.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
Dave, what were you asking me about, some kind of road, or you mentioned Ketchikoski or something over for your,
Well, Tashikoski's, you got water on one side, they said there was a culvert there at one time. And he said they took it out. And now that water's all backing up on this side, and the water won't go to the other side to drain to the marsh. They took the culvert out.
we took it out.
The RN.
He did.
Maybe?
Or,
Okay,
No, I didn't.
or sorry, or Freddie Fedot took it
Okay,
out on his own.
okay,
That's what Wade told me.
that must have been some
I
time
think
ago.
it'll probably still be recorded, we can discuss that.
yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so we're down to communications for action, number 5 on our agenda, and the first item we have is the Manitoba Planning Conference. I know that it ends up to be at the same time, some of us will be at FCM, but if there is anybody interested in going to the planning conference that is not going to FCM, I'm not sure who handed their sheets into Heather. Did you hand yours in? I see you're
No.
still kind of looking at it. Are you interested in going to that planning conference at all?
No.
Okay. Deepak, did you have anything that you wanted to add on that one?
No, Madam Mayor, just, do we have the names identified already? Yes, so we have resolved Councillor Scott Spicer be authorized to attend the 2022 Manitoba Virtual Planning Conference, May 31st to June 2nd, 2022. And then Councillor Spicer, let us know about if you're planning to attend any of the dinner
No,
events.
I'm just doing virtual. And I'll do my best to report back in a brief manner.
Go ahead, Councillor. I don't know if Rob had sent anything in. I guess this is still far enough away that if he tells Deepak that he wants to go, we can pass the resolution on the 24th.
Correct.
So. Okay, if we could have the resolution then for Scott to attend, or did we read it already? Okay, so then can I have a mover for the resolution? Councillor Horwath, Councillor Strang seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, the next one we have is the Lord Selkirk Regional Comprehensive School, and that's the awards night. And I've gone to that many times in the past, and I plan on going again this year. They haven't had it, of course, for a couple of years because of COVID and everything else, so. And normally, there are 3 recipients from our municipality that do get some funds. We don't know until we get there who they are, because they hand us the envelopes with a little write-up about the student and their name, and then we just present them with their I guess their bursaries. I'm trying to think of the right words, so. Any questions or comments? Can I have the resolution then, please?
My internet is slow again.
That's okay.
Supply chain issues.
It's, reload. You're just doing the same thing?
Debbie, what's the date for that again?
For the awards
June
presentation.
8th.
8th.
I put no, but I'm not sure if I'm home or not. It's not a big deal, could you just put me down just in case
To the awards presentation at the
Yeah.
school? Sure.
but I don't know for sure, 'cause
Yeah.
So it's just Councillor Sutherland and Mayor Feeblecorn and Councillor Horwath, so I can just read those off. Anyone else? And I'm not sure about Councillor Bassaroich, are you interested? Okay, so, since we're having internet, I'll just read off the resolution.
Sure,
as I
go
would
ahead.
anticipate it would be. Resolve, council approve Councillors Dave Horwath, Dave Sutherland, and Mayor Debbie Feeblecorn to attend the Lord Selkirk Grant Awards celebration on June 8th, 2022.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Horwath seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, the next item we have is the AMM, and that is the June district meeting. And that is open for all members of council, whoever would like to attend. It's not just the mayors and reeves. This is the one where if we have any resolutions we would like to see passed, we can bring them up at this meeting. They have to be into AMM by the end of the month, I believe, by the end of May. And they would be discussed at the June district meeting, and if they pass there, then they go to the AMM convention in the fall. So,
Didn't we ask one that we went today? I thought it was the man about the land, wasn't it? About the farm land and, yeah, agricultural land that's, that you can't really do any agriculture on. I thought we had talked about that before.
Yes, those are the resolutions council meeting to have a discussion on this.
And this one is basically for anyone who wants to attend the district meeting, and it is in Dugald. And I'm not sure, did you put yours down to go? Okay, Doc, did you finish filling it out? Because that should go to Heather.
Okay.
I have the same problem, but mine eventually opens. But I'm just waiting for this one to open right now. But very, very slow. Maybe we should.
Nobody got the line or anything?
Another culvert one?
And the culvert washed out there in this area? Back to the.
Okay, so I have resolved Mayor Fiegelkorn and councillors Glenn Bazaroj and Scott Spicer be authorized to attend the AMM 2022 Eastern District meeting in Ierha, Springfield on Thursday, June 16th, 2022.
Councillor Sutherland, you're not interested? Okay, can I have a mover then? Councillor Strang, second. Councillor Horbis, any further discussion? And there again, we don't know if Rob will be interested in attending, so we may have to have another resolution if he wishes to attend, so. Have we have a seconder? Any other questions or comments on the June district meeting that's on the 16th of June, I believe, in Dugald? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Do we want to take 5 minutes to see if you can get back into your
Thank you,
computer?
Madam Mayor. Trying to get those, seeing if I can, seems to be the computer. I'll see if this computer is working. And then I can just switch over if necessary.
Okay, well, while you're trying to do that, I'm going to take a 2-minute break and we're going to go grab a coffee. Go to.
Yeah, because all that meeting seems to be working. It's a little slow, but it seems to be working.
Twice or once?
Twice.
It's not loading at all for me.
Click again.
We'll have to shut it right down and come on.
It's coming, but it's
Yeah,
slow.
it's okay.
Okay, I'm going to grab a coffee.
Just boot up those.
Slow down.
Just a little bit.
Okay,
We're working on this stuff right now.
Yeah, well, supposed to be, I think.
Scott,
Mm-hmm.
do you maybe just want to go, because you're taller than me, just power that off for a moment? Because we could probably just unplug it from the box, right?
what do you mean?
I can't get the thing to the stream to shut off right now. So if we could
That's okay, leave it. Just don't worry about it, then we'll just keep recording 10 minutes.
We
Can't,
have to behave ourselves.
Should I get Justin to reboot anything or no?
Well, we need to check, get Justin to see if there's something wrong with this domain here.
Okay.
No big impact.
Yeah, seems to be a lot of problems happening with this. The whole council meetings, the internet is not coming on at all.
Oh, I thought I had mine on.
just relying on previous memory.
That's yours. You see, I have mine up.
Oh, see, now it's finally coming slowly. Just trying to load all that. Okay, I have it up on that one.
All net or?
All net.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can bring up any of those items on here. Still very slow. Seems to be an all-net problem. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna try to switch it off from that one. This one. At least everybody will be able to see what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna copy Mike for a minute and I'll be back.
How's it working there for you, Deepak?
Well, it seems
Still
to be
not.
all-net is having a problem, and it seems to be we're having a problem with this domain with all-net.
Should I shut mine off and do probably reload it?
Maybe that might help. Seems to be all net is where the problem is. If I go to Google Earth, I'm not having any problems, so it looks like
Yeah,
all net is the
It's
problem.
really slow, eh?
Yeah,
It
it's
looks
like multiple meetings are going on and yeah, Zoom is working, so it's quite interesting that Glenn, can you get access to AllNet from your computer at home?
To AllNet?
Yeah. To the agenda? 'Cause
Just
we're-
my regular scheduling?
Yeah, just the regular meeting, information, because I'm having trouble sharing or having trouble connecting.
I can do, I can get it, but I can do one or the other, I can't do both. I don't know how.
Okay, let me see if I can get it working. Pardon? May I have to go to that as a last resort. It's just I'll lose the connection with Glenn.
I could run a second screen, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying right now, and I'm seeing if I can get it on. Here, let me see if I can get it back, log on. There we go, looks like I'm back up. slow, very slow.
Allnet's having an issue. Another municipality also contacted them.
Yeah, looks like all that. So we'll just continue on to the best of our abilities. We only have this and then some new other business. I'm just worried about the financial plan.
Right.
It just looks like it's really slow, eh?
Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can get this back here.
We only did that one thing already this month.
yeah,
What was
okay.
that? Didn't we have a meeting this month? Oh, yeah, wasn't that for the finance thing?
We had financial planning hearing on the 3rd.
You want the middle?
I think that's when we were thinking about.
Okay, so, I'll begin the recording on this Zoom just in case. After our 10-minute break, next month. Well, I guess we don't necessarily need it in Zoom.
No, except, no. It's still live streaming, so.
CC,
Yeah.
the date,
Yeah.
it's on,
What?
Yeah.
They're being done right now, yes. That was on the agenda.
Maybe
I got here
before.
before I got to the items.
That's okay.
So it should be an easy decision. So,
He planned it that way. Heather, I think you stopped the recording
I
maybe?
couldn't, but it's still,
Oh, okay. Oops.
it's okay, we've been okay.
Okay.
Today's the day, just a technical difficulties.
Looks like AllNet is having problems. So we'll move on to the, what is this?
We're at new and other business. Did we do the resolution for the Eastern District meeting? I think we did.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're at new and other business.
I thought we were at adjournment.
Not quite.
Do you want me to, I'm still trying with the calendar, if I get it off, do you want to do a camera maybe, and we'll do those? If I can get the camera off?
If you can get the camera off, then we can go into in-camera at that point. So we can at least finish off this new and other business. I don't think there's as much. So we can start off with the information you have on the business. So we're having trouble with the AllNet, so what I'll have to do is go to the manual format. So if you
You're gonna
it's
write
trouble
all-
bringing up any items on the AllNet, so everybody's gonna have trouble seeing
You're
any
gonna
of our
write it down
electronic
and then
documents.
pass around, so we
Okay, I
can
got
sign
it
the
now.
moves and seconds.
Have to go that route.
Good old days.
We're going back in history now today?
Okay, so we're at number 6 on the agenda, and with our computer issues here, Deepak is going to just go over the information, and then we will pass the resolutions, and hopefully there's not too many resolutions that are required here. So the first one we have is 6.1, request regarding a wedding event in our municipality.
And so this is from residents at 5722 Henderson Highway. They're requesting to have a wedding, and it says, "We are thrilled to be planning our wedding ceremony and reception within the Arm of St. Clements on our private property, 5722 Henderson Highway, on July 1st, 2022. Our ceremony is to take place at 4 p.m. with a reception to follow. We cannot wait to host our approximately 150 guests in such a beautiful location. Our request is that you allow us to go past the noise bylaw of 11 p.m. that evening and play music until 1:30 a.m. at the latest. All neighbors within 150 feet have signed the attached petition stating they are in favor of this event and of the noise until 1:30 a.m. that evening of our celebration. Thank you kindly. And so what they've requested is for approval. They did supply a petition with that, with signed from the neighbors saying that they would support it.
I'll move.
Second. Madam Mayor?
Okay, so I have Councillor Corbis is seconding, or moving that motion, and Councillor Gazarovich seconds, and I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any comments or questions? Go ahead.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I was gonna say, are we moving it to 1:30 or 1 o'clock? 1:30?
1:30.
1:30.
What they've requested.
And my only thing is if we get, and I'm all in favor for it, I'm very happy that people are starting to get out, and I guess the one request from the people is to have their cell phone number for Tyler, because if anybody complains, that's gonna go to our bylaw. Like, if anybody's missed, and in the summertime noise travels. So, just so he knows, that he can tell the people that it was something that was passed through council and the noise bylaw, they did come in front, so.
So poor Tyler's gonna get a phone call 2 o'clock in the morning or 1:30 in the morning?
Well,
Hey, it's gonna happen,
it'll go here.
Oh, it'll go
yeah, it'll
on,
go
right?
here, but at least, if he has a number in that, just to,
Maybe we should, but I guess that he should just be aware of it. So,
Yes. and have a phone number for them, an easy contact, their cell and their house phone number if they have a landline, and that, just to have that request for Tyler, that's all.
Councillor Sutherland, did you have something?
I'm all for it, but then I just like to say, it's nice that they canvass their neighbors.
Yeah.
So in all likelihood, you probably won't have any because they've taken the time to, in all likelihood, you're not gonna have any complaints anyway, but it's a good idea for them to know.
Just to be on the
I wish
precautious
everybody
side.
would kind of do that when they want to request it.
Right,
It's nice to,
something out of the ordinary that they
yeah,
they
when I was
go
reading
and
that,
see their neighbors.
that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Okay, so I have a mover, I have a seconder, we had a little bit of discussion, anything else?
Did you guys want me to read it? I have it up.
Go ahead.
Whereas Carleen Trico and Jeff Bayless has made a request for noise extension, which is regulated under bylaw 7/2020, for the purpose of an outdoor wedding event on July 1st, 2022, therefore be it resolved that under section 5 of bylaw 7/2020, permit the outdoor playing of music and other party-related activities 2.5 hours past 11 p.m. at 5722 Henderson Highway on July 1st, 2022. Further be it resolved, the property owners are responsible for nuisance noise created by invitees, guests, or any other persons on the premises in the same manner as the person actually creating the nuisance noise, unless the property owner of the premises establishes that they exercise due diligence and bona fide effort to control and abate such nuisance noise.
Okay, I have a mover, I have a seconder. If there are no other comments or questions, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, the next item we have is the municipal office yard.
So I think I've got a plan, hopefully this will work with council. I'm trying to bring up the document on one side and then the resolution on another so we can stay on time. Okay, so this one is for the municipal office yards. It's our annual contract renewal with, this time with Gellers again, and they've submitted a proposal, slightly less than last year, but last year we had them doing some pruning and shaping and some work around the beds, the flower beds and so forth. This year it's about $1,000 less than last year. Or about $500 less than last year approximately. And the biggest issue is that they do have some increased costs compared to last year. We're assuming some of those related with COVID-related cost increases related to gas and other things.
Okay, any questions or comments? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So, given the situation I'm okay with going ahead with this, but, I guess we've got them doing less and the price is the same, pretty much. So, really, at some point in time, we should be getting some requests for proposals for this work in the future. That's my thought.
Good point, Counselor, we can certainly do that. We've been requested already to look at requests for proposals for doing snow clearing. So for next year, we can also look at requests for proposals for snow clearing and grass cutting.
Like, I think that timeline's a little short here, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so, thank you.
Thank you. I guess I'm just looking at it, and I think where their costs are maybe a little bit more than they were last year is probably to do with some COVID-related issues where the price of gas has gone up quite a bit, because I see that's where one of the most significant increases are. So I'm not sure if that's what it is, but I do agree that yes, it should be tendered, and I'm not sure if it should be tendered like one for spring and one for winter, or if you just put it out as one RFP and have the people.
We could probably do it as a one RFP, which offers options of doing both, and we have the option to select either together or
Maybe
either.
that's the way to do it.
Yeah,
Leave it with the option.
yeah. Go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
I don't have the things in front of me here, but when I was doing it at home like that, sure, that it's like, price is the same because we're not doing the gardens and all that stuff, but I'm looking at the fuel price, the grass cutting, and it went up substantially, like COVID or no COVID, or even if your gas prices were tripled, like they're up to, I can't remember, I don't have the video.
It's on the screen. Oh,
That's
sorry.
I think it almost
There you go.
doubled.
It's on the
Yes, it
screen.
did, there was two.
And the spring cleanup went up pretty
Yeah, there was
drastic.
two figures there that I think, well, whoa, that's, I do understand, but to me, that's quite a jump,
Yeah.
you know, so.
2,400, 4,000 for mowing, and 3,600 to 5,000 for ground maintenance and fertilization of weeds.
Yes, so, I know there's extra costs, but to me, that seems pretty high.
It's, I don't even know if gas would be that much.
Well, come on, like, you know, let's add another $400 for gas, and that's high for lawnmowers and stuff. I think I'm having it too high, so.
Go ahead, Sandra, sorry.
That's okay, thank you. I'm just gonna concur with, I believe we should have had this tendered out, but I know that's the timeline right now. I guess, and that's what they're doing right now, this isn't, I thought it was the stairs, but this is just the yard cleaning right now that they're doing?
No,
No,
this is
those
Oh,
the
that's the
stairs.
stairs, okay,
Yeah,
very exciting then.
yeah.
But, yes, no, just some of the prices, and I guess it depends what our weather's gonna be like. Last year was drought. They didn't have to cut the grass that many times because it was so dry out and we hardly had any rain. This year might be the year of rain that they might be here more. So I know it's hard to estimate of what the increase is gonna be with, but, yeah, but I would just concur with putting it out for tender next time.
Well, I think for this season, we'll have to either accept this or do something else, but I guess my next question would be, when is the best time to send out an RFP? Would it be like in September for winter and next summer?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay, so the resolution is resolved, administration be authorized to accept the service proposal of Geller's Enterprises at an annual cost of $10,626.32 plus taxes to provide landscaping services for the municipal office.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Borges, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, the next one is the Manitoba Good Roads Association, the 2022 competition. And all the information is there, and the letter is there with all the nomination forms. And I guess I put a little note on my agenda, and this is just me, I don't know, we all know there are some very nice yards in our municipality, except sometimes we don't know exactly where they are. And my thought has always been is, this should go out to Public Works, and when they're out grading and doing things on the roads, they may spot a yard that's very, very nice that we're not aware of. And perhaps they could, even if they just gave us the house number, because we have house numbers in a lot of the areas now, so if they gave us a house number of, 25 Willow Bay, at least someone could go and have a look and see if it might be worthwhile to put in the competition. So, go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
That's a good idea, and I like, we should draft a letter to Greg, to Public Works, ask all the guys in the meeting, say, well, just keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah.
Because they're out there more than we are.
That's right, I think we all know, of one or two maybe nice places, but when they're traveling around, they may find a few nice places, so.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anybody else comments? Go ahead, Councillor Horbus.
Maybe we could put it on our website too, and if there's any people in the community who would like to nominate their neighbor or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be, somebody could say, some people are modest, they just take care of their yard, but it's really nice, and somebody could see it and say, hey, have a little ad like that.
Good.
Yeah, and of course, we did have the one winner this year, like this past year, so it was kind of nice. I mean, we haven't had a winner for a long time, and I guess the only other thing that I would like to see is, I think somewhere's on this document, there is for municipal roads, if we could find a road that we could put into the competition somewheres along the way, that would be great too. Not saying that we would win, but it would be good to have a submission. Any other comments or questions on this one? So at this point in time, there's really nothing to do, like we still have another month. The deadline for entries is June the 24th. So the other thing that I wanted to say is when we had our board meeting in Brandon, they are looking for judges, so if there are any council members who are interested in giving a hand with judging, you can let me know and I'll forward the name on to the judge's chair, which I'm not sure who it is, whether it's changed or not, but I can do that. So. And it would be like sometimes you'd have to go for the whole day, and you may have to go up toward Dauphin that way, or to the eastern side, or more west, but I know they're always looking for judges.
Is it just gravel roads or is it paved roads too?
I think it's everything.
Didn't it say gravel?
It's both types.
Yeah.
Like that paved road in front of the church there, is that too late to put that up for?
Shouldn't be.
Not a bad idea.
That's a nice road.
Except they have to fix the shoulders now, like where they seeded on the sides.
Oh,
People have been driving through there and it's kind of a
yeah.
mess.
It's kind of impressive. When you
It
drive
is,
down there.
it is
looks
very
really
nice. Yeah, go ahead, Sandra.
I was just gonna say that we are for sure two councillors sitting around the table here that would be very knowledgeable in that area.
Yeah.
Well, they're not here right now.
One that used to sell, one that sold gravel, and the other guy who used to run equipment.
Yeah, just saying.
So whoever might be interested, think about it, and if you so choose to do, that would be great. I know that they were very short of judges last year, so.
You two would be like Laurel and Hardy at the competition for judges. Well, we would want all the commentation in the truck as you guys are talking.
Okay, so we'll bring that one back. Probably, I would hope that we can bring it back the end of May and maybe have something, and if not, we can bring it back the first meeting in June. It's only because of the timing.
We could look at Church Road too. If we just redid all the drainage and fixed that road.
So,
We could send it two inspectors, the two judges.
Yeah.
You'll be great.
Okay, so I think we're at 6.4 on the agenda, which is the Lockport Market.
Madam Mayor, that was brought up earlier in the meeting. So this is the request from the Lockport business to request to put on a market and on provincial letter support to put the market, provincial lands on the north side of Highway 44 behind the subway area.
Provincial lands or municipal?
Provincial lands.
I
We're looking for some-
Behind the
It's
subway.
Yes.
by the old museum in the parkway.
Yeah. But I
This
also,
is- Go ahead, Madam Mayor.
I also thought that they were looking for some assistance with the insurance for that event.
They were.
Correct.
Yeah.
So does that mean they want to get an additional insurer on our policy? So
Correct.
there's no cost then, really?
No, we just add them in similar to what we did for the fishing derby
Yeah.
as a special events.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be a single spot for the special events. So they make an application of the province for the special event.
Go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
Well, you mentioned it's behind the subway. I'm just wondering, like,
As part of the Lockport Heritage Park
Yeah.
for community market.
I think it's where the museum is.
Yeah, I think
okay,
it's-
all right, I'm thinking behind the subway is the top of the
Private
floodway,
property.
it's private right behind there. and-
Right.
And then there's the, you would have to prepare a spot. It's more or less by the heritage.
The Heritage, yeah, so I guess subway and to the west a little bit, south, northwest, not directly north.
So there's, yeah, okay, so there's nothing it's a suitable site, nothing has to be
Correct.
fixed up to, okay.
Go ahead, Councillor
problem.
Strang.
Is this part of the Lockport Biz, trying to, okay, excellent, yeah,
It's part of the Lockport Community Development Group.
okay, and that's, is that the whole Lockport, or is that just our side? Since, has St. Andrews given anything to the Lockport?
They are working together now as one group. I'm not sure if this request is just specifically from our side, but both sides of the Lockport business groups are working together on various initiatives now.
Perfect, excellent.
Yeah, when I first read it, I was a little confused because typically they would have the market and Skinner's parking lot there on Sunday also. So then I was thinking we would go ahead, but then I realized that they aren't having anything there now because it's all full. So the question is what happens? Good that they're doing it this year. The question will be what happens next. If they're both running, and are they both running at the same time? And maybe there's enough interest that it can be done.
And I think their intent is to just keep the market level going and the visitations. And I think they'll negotiate as to where the best location is, which one works out better for them. And sometimes it's good too, depending on the level, you can have it on both sides, to have that level of foot traffic on both sides of the
Yes.
river.
Encourage people to
That's
use
what I'm
them.
thinking.
Yeah.
It brings in more people if you have road work and choices.
Use the new walkway on the bridge.
Correct.
We'll make use of our sidewalk on ours and maybe encourage, I don't know what their plans are on the other side to have one too.
Is that bridge going to be finished this year?
What is
Yes.
They're still saying fall of 2022, but oh boy, they're gonna have to move a lot faster.
Well, I hope they don't move as fast as this guy's doing this water treatment plant here. I've seen Pete drive faster than those guys. Oh, it's painful to drive by there. Sorry, but
And they're still slated for delivery in September. They are on time to the original plan. And so a good part of the work at the water treatment plant is basically underground work. The reservoir and so forth. The building was the last part of it, so it's very difficult to sort of notice any work until the building starts going up as the addition to it.
Well, and it's the same with the bridge. Most of the work is on the north side. for changing drastically things.
Yeah, that's where the overlay ag will be, yeah.
What are you gonna do with that steel part there at the end there?
It's
It's gonna keep it staying
Yeah. The sidewalk's going on the outside.
in?
Yes, and the railing has been removed that they did have there. That railing is being stored at our public works yard and will also be stored in the St. Andrews Public Works yard, and it will be probably incorporated into our trail strategy.
Like they have it all up already on that one side, it's all been sandblasted and put back up there.
Councillor Sutherland, you have your hand up.
Yeah, pertaining to these insurance, that's wanting us to, I don't remember seeing a figure unless I missed it. Like what kind of, what's the
It's just
cost
standard
to us?
liability insurance, as I recall, there isn't any real cost to us.
No?
They just
Again,
added,
added on to our insurance.
Public liability.
Okay, that's, thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Strang.
And that insurance works even though that we're on provincial lands?
It should,
It
you should verify.
Just asking.
Yeah.
because it more relates to the event.
The event
Correct.
rather than.
Not the location, yeah.
Just like the fishing derby was on the water.
Just checking.
But
Thank
good, good question.
And the province controls that too. For the last.
Federal government.
Okay, we had a resolution.
Only the navigable parts.
Yeah, we had a resolution for the community market.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Resolved, Council authorized Lockport Community Development Group as additional insured of the municipality's 2022 insurance policy for the Lockport Community Market being held on every Sunday from May 22nd through to September 18th, 2022.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Spicer, any questions, any additional questions or comments? Hearing and, go ahead, Glenn, did you have a question or a comment?
It's just supporting.
Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. He must have a time lapse because he's just putting his hand up now and it looks like he's frozen.
Oh, it was, he raised his hand for seconding and then he had.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, so we have one other item, I believe, before we get to the accounts, and this was the addition to the agenda, which was the Disaster Financial Assistance Program for spring flooding.
We still have 6.5 Madam Mayor.
Oh, Interlake Art Board, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So Interlake Art Board, they're looking for a letter of support. Go ahead, Deepak.
Correct, they're looking for a letter of support for additional artwork to be put into the community, and they are looking for support from the soccer foundations and other locations and other ways. And, you know, to look at creating a cluster of murals in the various locations. We're recommending approval.
Okay. Do we have a resolution, or will that just be by letter that will be supporting your ask here?
It'll be just, we'll be just sending a letter of support.
Okay, so now,
Madam Mayor.
go ahead, Councillor Strang.
I just wanted to make a comment. The Interlake's Arts Board, I commend Joni English for going to Lockport and looking for a place to put a mural. And she did make a comment to the mayor and myself that she is already hunting around for different grants. And she's trying to hit a big one right now with CN. So she is always on the move looking, and she's hoping that it is very minimal to us,
Cost-wise,
Yeah.
yes.
So I just commend these volunteers that are out there that are doing a great job, so.
Yes. And it seems that they're really working hard now, and I think it's kind of to do with the pandemic that nobody's done a whole lot over the last couple of years, so they're trying to almost do catch up now so they can get some of this stuff off the ground, so.
And she's very excited to come into our municipality now that they have the one. So
Yes,
they're looking at
yes. So, okay, we are at the 6.6 on the agenda, which is remuneration for the election officials. And there is a resolution. Deepak, did you want to speak to it before the resolution comes forward?
This is just for establishing the remuneration. If you may recall, we had repealed the previous bylaw. That was an old bylaw that had old numbers and felt that it didn't need to be done in the bylaw as opposed to just a resolution of council for the year of the election, as opposed to having it sit on the books as a long-standing bylaw. So today we're bringing forward that resolution, which, if you're okay with that, Madam Mayor, I will read it.
Go right ahead, please.
Resolve Council for the Arm of St. Clements accept the proposal of the Senior Elections Officer, Sue Sutherland, for the following remuneration rates of pay for the 2022 municipal election. Information Officer, $300 for Election Day. Deputy Returning Officer, $275 for Election Day. Poll Clerk, $250 for Election Day. Training, $40 per training session, half day. Mileage set at 45 cents per kilometer, but may change to the current CRA rates.
Okay, any questions or comments on the rates? Now, are those comparable to 4 years ago? Like, was there an increase from 4 years ago?
There are slight increases from 4 years ago, but they're consistent with what's being recommended across.
Okay. All right, any other questions or comments on the rates of pay for election officials? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. No, I need a mover first, please. Councillor Sutherland, second. Councillor Vazarowicz. Any discussion? Go ahead, Glenn, or are you putting your hand up to vote? I think he's a little bit. The both pictures are.
No, I was just seconding it.
Okay, thank you. I got you as the seconder, so if there are no other questions or comments, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, so that takes us down to our finances, I believe. No, DFA, the new item that was added to our agenda. Go ahead with that one, please, Deepak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We added this, the new item was just, the email came in just yesterday from the province of Manitoba identifying that there will be some disaster financial assistance for the spring flooding and provide some options as to how that disaster financial assistance can be incorporated. We have been recording our costs associated with some of the spring flooding and storm-related issues, and so what we're recommending is to move forward with a resolution for council to request for that disaster financial assistance and identify that. They also provided us with a standardized resolution that they're requesting all municipalities to put forward, so we have that forward. If you're okay with that, Madam Mayor, what I can do is read the resolution itself.
Sure.
Whereas the rural municipality of St. Clements has realized response and repair costs for the 2022 spring flooding event, and whereas the provincial government has announced a disaster financial assistance program regarding the 2022 spring flooding event, therefore be it resolved that the rural municipality of St. Clements respectfully request the province to participate in this program, public sector, as it has incurred expenses as a result of this event. Further be it resolved, the rural municipality of St. Clements also respectfully requests the province on behalf of their residents to participate in this program, private sector, in the event that residents have incurred financial costs for the 2022 spring flooding event.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horgus, second. Councillor Sutherland, any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, so we are now down to the finances, number 7 on our agenda, and the first item is our list of accounts for the period ending May the 10th.
Resolved, council approved the May 10th, 2022 list of accounts, check numbers 22000861 to 22000949 in the amount of $714,317.84 for payment.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horbis, Councillor Strang seconds. Discussions, questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, the next item, we do have a couple of grants that are here listed today, or one anyways. And that is the Red River Paddle Challenge, and I'm not sure if we want to deal with this one or hold it over as, because of the comment that was said earlier, that they still want to speak about it through Red River North Tourism.
Are we gonna do it? Are we gonna do that, or?
Well, I think the resolution, I have lost everything here now too. I think the resolution was
A request for grant approval,
for so much money.
yeah, on site up to $300.
Or the massage person, right?
No, that is for the massage
Oh, okay.
person, up to $300 on site.
Did we source anybody local that does it in our area?
The event was submitted to the Manitoba Athletic Therapists Association to find someone who would attend the event. This would range from a volunteer, and I don't know if Brenda's been able to get a hold and see who's a registered Manitoba therapist and can do it.
So should we hold it over till she finds out next time, or are we gonna?
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
I don't know, unless I'm wrong. This is what they asked us to submit, isn't it? And we've gone through and talked to the association, so when we're talking about $300 here, they're done.
If you like, we can do a friendly amendment and say that to explore looking at a local massage therapist, so that it can be made sure that it's part of the resolution.
Yeah, that would be nice if somebody from the RM could do it.
Yeah, and I know that there are at least a couple in the municipality, so.
I was just gonna
Oh,
say-
go ahead, Councillor Strang.
Thank you. I think that Brenda was also trying to see if there was some students, because they have to put in so much time also for volunteer, that she was gonna see if they can get a couple of those too, but I agree. We can do the friendly amendment thing and see what comes back with it too, but yes, it is only the smaller
Like
amount.
Scott said, let's get it done too, you know, like just
Well, then they can plan. right?
Yeah.
But that's,
move it along.
Yeah.
So I'll quickly make up a resolution here.
It's just that Dave got his license and I wanted to see.
I have some comments to make, but so I have to watch myself.
So resolved, council approved the following 2022 requested grant budget. Red River Paddle Challenge 2022 massage athletic therapist on site, made by the Arm St. Clements up to $300. And furthermore, RM to solicit local massage therapists and students.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, second. Councillor Spicer, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, next we have the tax incentive bylaw, and I will let you speak to that one, please, Deepak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So today we are presenting the 2022 financial plan and tax levy bylaw for the Arm St. Clements. The plan, as you know, has been developed in collaboration with the Administration Council and has been shared with our residents. It addresses revenues, expenditures, projects that are being put forward, as well as, most importantly, where the priorities of the municipality. The 2022 financial plan will help to take the municipality in a direction that will enable it to manage expected growth, infrastructure, requests for services while keeping the tax rate sustainable, protecting the environment. The financial plan also takes into consideration unexpected challenges the municipality may face due to uncertain times we're presently encountering. As discussed, the financial plan also supports strategic planning completed in 2019 and the goals established in that plan. We have made, through further consultation with the province of Manitoba, we've made one change to the financial plan after the provincial review. We have also omitted the two last borrowings on Part B of page 13B, that as they were already present in page 13A. We have adjusted the total borrowed amount according to the 2022 established borrowing rates. The province came back and said just adjusting to the borrowing rates, that they have just updated to the new borrowing rates for those two projects. Those have been highlighted for council, and I just want to make sure councillors Councillor Basrowich can see it. So the borrowings that were identified, that were moved out, were the two at the bottom. They were already on 13A, and the adjustments are in the amounts for the CIP, South St. Clements. So that's the one sort of significant change that was at the request of the province. And so it doesn't have any impact on the final numbers of the financial plan.
Question.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So they asked you to change the repayment amount to borrowing rates that are in effect right now?
Correct. For the two projects that are slated to be borrowed in the future, not the ones that we already have established.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah, that's the 29, what would be the final borrow after 20 years?
South St. Clements and the water control ones.
Exactly.
So the other ones didn't change because
No.
they're already done.
They're already done, and they
Okay.
just moved out of this page because they were on the previous page.
Perfect.
Where is this on the agenda?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time finding it here.
The AllNet, it's under, oh, no, what I'm presenting to you on the screen, it's already presented on the screen, because I didn't put it on the
Oh,
agenda.
okay.
Because this is just information to add as part of my presentation.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with the tax incentive bylaw, because I thought that's where we were at on the agenda.
Actually, yeah, you kind of hopped ahead.
I hopped ahead to the financial
But
plan
carry
itself.
on.
Okay,
Sorry, Madam Mayor. So I'm talking about the financial plan itself, which goes along with the tax incentive bylaw.
okay.
And so since we're coming in for the second reading of the tax levy, I can give you an update, and then we'll come back and do the second reading and the third reading.
Perfect.
Okay? So those are the only changes to the financial plan that were made. Would you like me to continue on with the update on the financial plan that goes to support the tax levy bylaw?
Yes, and then we can come back, and before we do the bylaw readings, we'll do the tax incentive bylaw. There's some administrative comments there too, so.
Administrative comments on the tax levy bylaw? It's just the bylaw itself.
No, the tax incentive.
No, on the
bylaw.
tax incentive bylaw.
Oh, I'm
That's not
sorry,
on this.
yes, I missed an entire number. That's where I
Correct.
jumped off.
Yes.
Yeah, I apologize for that. Okay, so we're at 8.1 for bylaws, and we'll come back to the tax incentive bylaw.
Okay,
Sorry, Madam Mayor.
that's okay.
So in regards to the financial plan, the notice of, there was a question at the public hearing, when was the financial plan made available to the general public? So I had answered the question, but I thought I would today make it as clear as possible. The notice of the financial plan public hearing was posted on April 8th. The notice of the financial plan hearing was also posted on our website as well as on our office location on April 8th. The financial plan hearing date was published also in the paper on April 14th and April the 21st. The financial plan itself that was shared with the public was published first on the agenda on April 22nd before the April 26th meeting of council. On top of that, the financial plan open house was occurred where a presentation was made in detail of the financial plan on April 25th. On April the 26th, the financial plan first reading was completed, and at which point the next day of April the 27th, the financial plan after the first reading was published on our website, although it was already on our agenda. The financial plan overview document itself was then produced and to provide further input and information to our public on April the 29th and published on our website. The financial plan information was also provided in our main newsletter on May 2nd. Then there was a financial plan public hearing on May the 3rd, and finally we have the financial plan and tax levy bylaw for second and third reading on May the 10th. And so wanted to also address some of the questions that came forward at that meeting. So we're just going to go over those questions quickly, and then we'll be sharing this information with the presenter at the meeting. So the first question was the amount of ditches and road drainage. And what they wanted to know what was the Ward 2 portion and what, as mentioned at the meeting, and we'll share this information again, was that this was presented in the public hearing slideshow as well as a public house slideshow, which are available online. For clarity, the following we provided as a breakdown, which was on the slideshow, which identified clearly what was done in Ward 1 and what was done in Ward 2 over the last 3 years, including what's also in there is what's being done on Ward 1 and Ward 2 in this current year. On top of that, second question was asking about what line of income from Grand Marais transfer station appears in the budget in a financial plan. And so sales of services for environmental health services, page 2, which total $943,240, includes the breakdown of revenues related to waste and recycling operations. So we've shown the breakdown of sales for services, income coming from rebates, sales for services in the landfill, as well as tipping fees in the various transfer stations, as well as solid waste card purchases, curbside pickup revenue, as well as any rebates received for recycling and so forth, which totals $943,000, which will be shared with that proponent. The other is asking about what amount is for the curbside collection in Ward 2. The curbside waste program allows for property owners to opt in at any time and is a changing metric. Properties are identified by address, role, and bin identification, not by ward. We have reached out to our service provider who will provide a count of residences by ward for calculations. We'll provide this final response once received from our contractor. Another question was about what portion of the $17 million in tax levies is Ward 2, and if it can be broken down. Options, a question posted on behalf of someone in the Ierha of Alexander. Our assessment values provided by the province of Manitoba are not categorized by wards. We are able to extract this information using our GIS, but we're not sure how accurate that will be. We have started this effort and will provide a final response once we have calculated it. Next question was about what portion of the hard surface roads were for Ward 2 and for the the southern portion of Ward 2. We don't distinguish between portions of Ward 1 and Ward 2. We have Ward 1 and Ward 2, and what we'll do is provide the hard surface roads and make it easier by adding in a column which identifies wards. So in 2019, Reback Road, which was Ward 1, 2020 was Old Henderson, Ward 2, as well as Church Road in Ward 2, and Dunning Road in Ward 1. In 2021 was Church Road in Ward 1 and Ludwig Road in Ward 1. In 2022, our Watchell Drive on Ward 1 and Church Road off of Ferry Road on Ward 2 and Spruce Drive off of Ward 2.
I just have a question. Is this hard surface, so that's pavement?
Correct.
Ludwig Road is all gravel. just to let you know.
That's right.
Much as we'd love it the other way.
Yeah, it was road repair, but not.
Right,
Yes,
yeah,
that
just
one
so
was
they
road
know
repairs,
that if people are hearing,
Yeah.
which we don't do.
I'll put a notation on that one to identify that it
Thank you
is
very much.
gravel. Road works. The other is the interpretation. 6 was asking for interpretation on the reserves page. As he advised, it was difficult to trace the numbers, not sure the explanation. That's on 2 pages is sufficient to resolve this question, was the comment. Basically, the transfer from reserves from operating utilities and capital totaled $5 million, $260,042.55. That translates into $2,411,000 from general capital from the reserve, as well as to the $55,000 to the utilities. 13B covers the rest of the funding for the general operating and the utilities. The transfers to operating items like project studies, major repairs, items that would not qualify as a TCA, so we expense them on general operating expense accounts. Transfers to utilities is light, and is also includes potential payments coverage and gas tax reserve. Transfers to capital is TCA, rolling stock buildings, and TCAB defined. This shows the funding coming from the revenue through operating and then transfer. Asking if the washroom could be placed on ground beach floor as a replacement. That was a request. And there's some construction going out, so I'll go on close
At least, I guess we can shut it, right?
Yeah, we can.
Don't think anybody will be using the stairs anyways, if you get repaired.
Yeah, people will be coming in through the back door, and they'll be working on the back tomorrow, I think. So the request for the bathrooms was the other request for, and council took it under advisement. So those are the general questions that we received as part of our public hearing and addressed. And so, Madam Mayor, at this point, we could put forward a request to go through second or third reading and then come back to item 7.
I'd just like to thank the CAO for drilling down on those questions and providing answers.
Anything else? Then I will ask for a resolution for second reading for the bylaw, please.
Resolved, bylaw 9 of 2022 being a bylaw of the Rural Municipality of St. Clements to provide for the 2022 annual tax levy be given second reading.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, second. Councillor Sutherland, any discussion? Questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. And we'll bring it forward for third reading.
Resolved, bylaw 9 of 2022 being a bylaw of the Rural Municipality of St. Clements to provide for the 2022 annual tax levy as amended be read a third time.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, Councillor Horbus seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. And that is a recorded vote, and it was unanimously carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and my apologies. When I heard tax, I went to tax levy as opposed to tax incentive. So we'll go to the tax incentive comments at this point.
Thank you.
And so what this is a property that was constructed, and it's part of our tax incentive program for properties that are constructed, whether it's municipal sewer or water or both, that they receive 2 years of tax forgiveness. And And this property has been under construction and has completed, so they've been holding off on paying the taxes, which would have been refunded to them, so that's what we're looking at moving forward right now. These individuals are making a request to get forgiveness for the 2-year time frame of taxes, municipal taxes, a totaling of $1,860.76.
Okay, that's kind of not what I was seeing here when I was looking at this the other day. Like, to me, it seemed like it was an awful lot of money that we were gonna be refunding. If you go to the, I guess it's the spreadsheet, maybe I'm reading it wrong.
Just bringing it up, Madam Mayor.
How come my fingers are locked?
Not the wrong one. Okay, so the question is, the total amount in there is $2,615.02. That's what translates in the administrative report with the penalties, because they're automatically generated because there was 2 years of waiting on that one.
So,
Okay, so there's almost $3,000 there in penalties that we're canceling,
Correct.
plus the 2 years of taxes being denied to 1860.
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Horvis.
so in theory, are they supposed to pay it and then we refund it back after? Is that how it's supposed to work? Or just,
In theory, what they should be is getting the approval when the building is constructed and complete. And I think the way that the bylaw was written, there was some confusion as to when that could happen.
so you're saying that we should, when they're starting to build, somebody should notify us so we don't get this big bill of these, of this again. If they notify us, then we put that on
Correct. I think that the logical way of moving forward would be that we modify that bylaw as I've discussed with council. I thought that there needed to be some changes. One is it should be only on the incremental taxes, so they continue to pay on their existing taxes on a property that has been assessed without any building on there. And then once the building is complete, then we forgive the following 2 years of taxes
on the building.
on the building.
But the taxes on the property, so the.
Well, the taxes of the incremental, the property value and building at that point, if council so wishes, or the incremental portion, so if somebody was paying $200 and now their taxes are $2,000, they'd be paying $1,800.
Or council.
Or sorry, we'd be forgiving $1,800.
I thought we had talked about this at one point too, and there wasn't, we were talking about if we were gonna keep doing it or not, because nobody was really using it.
Correct. That's one of the other challenges on this bylaw that was written. It says for the homeowner, and so usually what's happening is that the developers are selling it to builders. Builders will do the construction and then they sell it to a new homeowner. And a builder can't make claim because they're not living there.
Well,
Go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
That was my question. I know we thought it was a good idea at the time, maybe it was. I'm just wondering, like, are we going to keep this incentive thing going, or are we going to? Housing doesn't seem to be a, it's moving, so do we need this incentive?
My personal opinion at this point is, Councillor, that we don't need a blanket assessment such as this, just to be given anywhere, that it should be targeted, and that council should approve it on an ongoing basis. And when you do tax forgiveness, unless you're looking at try to encourage development, I would say that you look at it on an as-needed basis by development, where you decide to give tax incentives like this, as opposed to just doing it right across the entire community. So that way, then it can meet council's direction of affordable housing, or council's direction for densification, or council's direction for specific items, and that encourages that level of development in a particular area, as opposed to just saying, if you're serviced, you get it, and obviously it hasn't been taken up very much. I think we have a total of 3 or 4 in here.
Yes, that's right, but do we need it at all? Anyway, maybe we should just,
That's what I mean, take it away and then only approve it on a development basis, on an as-need basis. So if somebody comes forward and says that, you know, that they're introducing a specific type of a development that council wants to see, such as multifamily, then you can look at introducing it because they would have, you know, you've had requests in the past where somebody comes in with a multifamily requesting for some support because of the cost of upgrading or upgrading to that kind of development.
okay, I get it. So right now, let's take the subdivision on Ferry Road. The second phase, let's say 2 or 3 houses are built this summer. Do they still qualify? Or are we gonna?
At this point, hardly any of them would qualify anyways.
I know that's what they don't know.
So I would agree that we should end this program.
Go ahead, Councilor.
That was a good idea. Sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead, Councilor.
So I guess you kind of answered it, but just say, for example, if that subdivision where with the multi-family was going to go across the road here, if that did go ahead, he would be an initial builder and the renter of that. Would he be able to qualify for that tax thing?
This was, I don't know about
Because
that.
he owned it when he was developing it up, so would that apply there? It
I
would,
think,
wouldn't
yeah.
it?
I don't know if he would be qualified. I'd have to take a look closer to the bylaw, see if they would qualify for something.
Just a question. But yeah, I'm kind of like, there's no way to use it. And then you won't have these hassles like this.
I guess my question is, if nobody else has anything, my question is, that how did this get initiated? Was there a letter from the resident? And how did this come about? Because we don't have any backup information from the property owner requesting this.
The property owners are notified when they come in for the construction permits, as part of the construction. They have a checklist that says that they're qualified for this, and then they come in, and it's up to the property owner to tell us if they would like to make that application. In this case, they come in.
If I remember right, there was a form in
Correct.
But that wasn't their form or anything, their request wasn't included in this package.
No, this is just the administrative comments related to this particular project.
Okay, because I guess normally we would get the letter of request from the property owner on our agenda, so. But I thought, for whatever reason, I thought it was only for properties, the incentive was only for properties that had services in the bylaw.
Yeah, that's right.
And I guess this one would qualify because it has sewer.
Correct.
And water?
And or water, it said, never
Okay.
said both.
So, the subdivision out by Grand Beach there,
Sunset Bay.
Sunset Bay, would they qualify?
This
That's
is
what
one.
this one,
Oh.
about, it's one of those properties.
Go ahead, Counselor Sutherland.
If they didn't apply when they built their home, again, let's go with the example of the 7 homes built on Ferry Road. I take it nobody's applied, but let's say they didn't. All of a sudden, let's say next year, somebody says, well, don't you know, you're qualified, can they still come back and say, well, hold it here? Is there a cutoff date or? can they still come and say, oh, we want 2 years, it's sewer and water? And we thought it was a good idea at the time to incentive, but I don't know, like,
Well, I guess
it's
I think,
moving.
I think I would suggest that in one of our upcoming committee meetings, that this bylaw be brought forward for further discussion, and then we can
Yeah.
have a good discussion at a committee meeting on where we're going, if we're gonna continue, if we're gonna amend it somehow, or whatever, but that should be brought forward to a committee meeting.
Good, thank you.
Okay, so for this one, for today, did you read the resolution?
Not yet, Madam Mayor.
Administrator? Okay, are there any further questions or comments on this tax incentive one? If not, I will ask for the resolution and we'll see where it goes.
Resolve the administration be authorized to waive interest and penalties on a property roll number 725571 in the amount of $2,887.46 and 2 years of municipal taxes being $1,860.76.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horvis, Councillor Sutherland seconds. Any discussion? Go ahead, Glenn. Or were you seconding? He's good. Okay, hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, we've done our bylaw. And so we are down to number 9 on our agenda, which is communications for information, and I'm not sure if there's anything there that, Mr. Administrator, that you would like to touch on?
Nothing specific, Madam Mayor.
Okay. So then we can go on to our council reports, unless there is something that a member of council would like to bring up under the communications for information. Hearing and seeing none. Councillor Bazarowicz, seeing as you're not sitting in the council chamber, I'll let you do your committee report first.
Okay. Got a whole bunch. May 3rd, we had our financial plan. I thought there'd be a little bit more participation, but that was fine. On Wednesday, the 4th, I attended the 4th through 6th. I attended the there's a reason I'm home. I attended the recreation conference. Took in a seminar about sports and gender. Another on accepting change. Did a seminar on day camps. Did a lot of networking, talking about floods, boundary roads, our industrial park. Discussed our trails, and on that note, I was there for the Dan Lester's Award, which was well deserved and well accepted. Had a number of people come up and congratulate him and us for nominating him. And the ARM meeting on May the 5th, and that's it.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions for Councillor Bazarowicz? Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
April 27th, we had our regular planning meeting. April 29th, I went with the mayor. We were at the Interlake Art Show. It was the 40th art show. I do have pamphlets from it. A very amazing of the people just in the local area of the art that they do. It's just like, it was blown up. They had it for sale. one of the things that the ladies today, speaking about the garden tour, that they bring these artists to these locations, and there was tons of them there, that some of the stuff that's created should be in the art gallery for sure. And I believe that they do have it, the one in Selkirk, that they do open the doors to them. But just mind blowing. I can only draw a stick man, so I'm very grateful for all that they had out there. It was wonderful work. April 30th, I went to the Ukraine fundraiser at Gaffers. Very nice evening, and I counted we had 14 corporate tables there. I was at the one the weekend before that was for the family night, and they had 18 tables. So I guess we'll see, hopefully, at the newspaper that they'll do some kind of presentation of all the funds and that were raised. May 3rd, financial plan hearing. May 5th in the evening, I attended ARM in East St. Paul. Their guest speaker was Rod Penner. He's from Greenstone Building Products. It was on ice building panels. I don't know, it was a different topic. And there was 3 municipalities that reported: East St. Paul, Headingley, and RM of McDonald. They did also give an update of some of the days for meeting locations, and now for June and July there will be no meetings for ARM. August will be the golf tournament in St. Andrews, and September 9th will be for all of council, their spouses, and for anybody at the RM offices, for everybody to join. It's almost like a wind down for anybody who will not be running in the next election. It will be at Hunts Roadhouse. And I also attended the rec conference for May 5th and 6th. Attended quite a few different sessions. One of them was called, that I found very interesting. Some of the people that spoke were totally amazing. Writing for the world of work, since we've changed so much into emails, no one speaking to each other, just the change of COVID. That was more of the theme of getting everybody back active. But doing with your writing for work and that, just how you put certain words in there. I was saying reread your emails. Don't be fancy with your words. Don't go to the source. Keep everything plain, simple, straight to the point. Opening and closing of emails. Be very, just regards. Nothing yours truly. They said a lot of people think there's a relationship going. That so many people read so much more stuff into emails now. Another one I attended was called Activating Neighborhoods. Just getting people back out into the neighborhoods, getting them back outside, people feeling comfortable with it. The other thing was COVID, how it's changed so much that even your people that you thought were your best friends, how everybody has different views on everything now. The Power of Cause was another session I attended. I attended a sponsorship in doing capital campaigns, which was excellent. And individual and community well-being, a lot of stuff on mental health, because they said everybody's been affected by COVID in different ways. And their person that did a wind down at the end of the day, her name was Judy Kroon. She was more of a comedian. You know how they have their inspirational speakers, it seems like everybody has at the end of their conference. She was very good. It was all in relieving work-related stress. So just different things, getting up and doing an exercise if you're sitting at a desk all the time. But she was actually a comedian from Toronto, so she was a good way to wind the conference down. Dan Lester, Glenn already mentioned Dan Lester, won one of the awards and was very thrilled about it, that we did that. And that day also he had gotten news from Mr. Wharton that St. Clements had won 2 more grants. So he even announced that to everybody there. So very excited to keep on going with the trails. And May 9th, we had our Rrpd executive meeting, and there we discussed our budget and the director work plans, which will be presented at the next planning meeting. And that's everything.
Good, thank you for that. Any questions for Councillor Strang? So now I don't have to list all mine. Go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
Thank you. April 28th, MART AGM and tour. One of the directors, Daryl Marsh, he's leaving. And Armand Poirier from Taché, the councillor, he is one of the directors now. He was nominated. So he's part of the directors now, the group. There was a Susan Adler and Eldon Waldman. Eldon is part of the directors too. They had a presentation about mulching and composting. Now there's a viable market for the sale of the compost. You know, so there's money to be made there. It's not just they compost and give it away. There is markets for it, and that's what this Susan spoke about. She's from Compost Quality and Alliance. That's where she is from, and so that was pretty interesting. So we had one tour of the Steinbach landfill, Eldon Waldman, one of the directors, but he also works there. He took us on a tour to show us their composting facility. We couldn't get out because of the weather, just stayed in the bus. Unfortunately, even the bus got stuck. They had to come on board and pull us out, so we just more or less had to sit in the bus. So their site is, they do a good job of, I think about 8 employees actually working there. They really do a good job of looking after the site, compacting, and you know, they put their cover down. Not every day, as it's supposed to, once a week they put a cover. I found it funny, one of the group on the bus asked, well, what about your rodents, rats? Do you have problems with rats? And he says, well, funny you should ask that. He says, we have, now there's 8 of them, there used to be a couple, there's 8 eagles that, he says, we have no rats. And then there's wild cats that they're in the landfill. He said, unfortunately, the eagles also take the cats away sometimes. Aside from that, he just had he says, it was talked about the seagulls. He says, I don't know the stomachs they have. He says, because they can eat anything, you know. All landfills have seagulls, and he's had a little story to tell us. Somebody found a finger, a human finger. So he was called to the site because he went. He's calling the RCMP, so he has the finger on the hood of his truck. While he's on the phone, the seagull coming, there went the finger. So the evidence was, they never found any other human remains. But he said the seagull swooped down and took the finger away. So he said the evidence was lost. I thought that was kind of funny. And Daryl Marsh, that's the one director that is leaving. He took us a tour of East Bend Recycling. I don't know why, because it's actually closing down also. It was a smaller scale recycling plant, but it was interesting, but nowhere near Cascades or anything, because I used to go to Cascade, we used to haul our recyclables there. But yeah, it's operating right now, but the building's been sold to a different outfit to be it's not a recycling plant anymore. Very small, but it was nice to take the tour, I guess. May 3rd, our financial plan. May 4th, Councilor Horbus and myself attended their GMCC meeting. A nurse practitioner will be started in June. Proceeds from their fitness center, $2,867. Susan applied for she hasn't got them yet, 2 employees from MMF. And she also applied for a Healthy Hire grant, goes towards the wages they pay out to, and she was successful, so it's $14,027. So that kind of helps towards, you know, their costs for that. The seniors are wanting to upgrade the kitchen in GMCC. Originally, they had said that, they talked about this last year, that they would pay for it. Well, that has changed. We don't know the figures, we don't know what it's gonna cost, but it's gonna cost lots if they go through with it. And, you know, this has to go through planning board and everything, I would imagine. But they want, because they are renting out for their meetings. They used to be at the rec center, and because of some disputes with the manager there, so they meet at the rec center since last year. So now they want to upgrade the kitchen. And it's quite expensive. So that's just something we talked about at the meeting. But they have money to put into it, but not enough. So that's as far as that's gone right now. Whether it's gonna happen, I don't know. But they did talk about it last year, and as I say, they were gonna cover the costs. Now it's, they would like to put in so much, and we put in so much. Just to let you know, that could come up eventually.
Well, it's a grant process.
Yeah.
And we've discussion of the washroom, you know, the public washroom, and she hasn't got enough quotes from there, and we don't really know where we're going with that yet. Now the topic come up like, it's gonna be a, you know, you have the public coming in there, it's not gonna be a 24-hour thing, but who's gonna clean the washrooms and all this, you know, everything. We realize that. Anytime where the public comes in, they get abused, they're dirty, they don't. So, we don't know where we're at, but was actually some talk about, well, why did we have to have it open to the public? Well, some members remembered, well, that's the reason when that building was put in there. Because there used to be an old outhouse on the Grand Murray Boulevard. That was the washroom. No, that got torn down because of health reasons. So the GMCC, that was supposed to be, and Debbie knows that also. But, so now we're getting into discussion, well, why do we have to have that there? Should be in the downtown, in the business section. So, again, we don't know where we're headed with that.
I think Councillor Strang had a question or a comment.
No, that's previous. I was going to say about the grant process of bringing for the kitchen.
Oh, yes, yes.
Bringing that forward, and I'm sure they have some figures that they've that they've looked to see what are the regulations to have a kitchen open, because it is a very extensive.
Oh, yes.
Certainly, yeah.
Like all the stainless steel, and like there are the regulations.
Maybe we can have a little bit further discussion in camera on a couple of these items
Sure.
that have come
Oh.
up.
Yeah.
here.
Good idea.
Yeah, yeah, so,
Okay, because we don't know where we're at with that now.
yeah.
But, okay, so we'll leave that. And the rent fees, they've brought in $5,350, and then part of that would include the reps with the seniors also, and then the people that are at the chiropractor. And May 5th was the ARM meeting in East St. Paul. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Councillor Sutherland? Go ahead, Councillor Horbus.
May the 3rd financial meeting, open house. May the 4th, GMCC with Dave, and he pretty much explained it all in one thing. But yeah, there should be some discussion again about some of that stuff.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions for Councillor Horbus? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So on April 27th, we had an Ierha Regional Health Advisory Council meeting. So the presentation is on your agenda. So there's lots of information there, and I'm not going to try to summarize it all for you. But a few highlights is, as you may have heard, David Mateer is no longer the CEO of the Ierha. He's the Executive Director of Diagnostic and Surgery Task Force. So Marion Ellis has taken over the CEO's duties. I don't know if Dr. Mateer is going to come back at some point or not, but that's where it's at right now.
I can tell you that he has been seconded for quite a long period of time.
Yeah, like it was kind of sounding like not anytime soon. So, from that point, we got reports on the 6 strategic goal areas that they're working on. Once again, they're in the presentation, so I invite council to take a look at it. There's lots of interesting work being done there. The other new information that's come out is, as of that day of the meeting, the deputy minister had talked about, they are estimating that 9,500 Ukrainian refugees could end up in Manitoba. And they're doing a lot of work to, from perspective, to make it a barrier-free approach. So they're going to get a health card for the time that they're here. But even until they're waiting to get their health card, they'll still get service. And the next meeting is September the 21st. May the 2nd, attended WMR Plan 2050. Not a whole lot of notes here. The meeting was about regional servicing strategies. The draft regulations are supposed to be coming later this spring. That will set the regional planning board framework. It will be on Engage Manitoba, and only 45 days to do responses. So, in regards to the servicing strategy, they did have one gentleman from the province do a little bit of a presentation. A lot of it was based on water and wastewater infrastructure and the opportunity for collaboration between municipalities. I noted here that land demand is a consideration, because that was talked about in the presentation. The rest of the meeting was a little bit of a history lesson, and then we did on policy areas, so, it wasn't a whole lot of opportunity to make notes, because we were wandering around the room doing various things. So there will be, that's all supposed to be summarized, and we're supposed to get that information in the future. May the 3rd, we had the financial plan hearing, presentation and questions and answers, which our CAO has already gone through some of that in this meeting. May the 5th, I attended the Association of Rural Municipalities meeting, and Councilor Strang's already reported on this. Just a couple of comments. The ice building panels approach is pretty interesting. And I guess we never think about this, right? Like when we're building buildings, we put insulation between the 2x6s. But the actual 2x6, there's not much. I think it's R2 or R5, he said. So the cold will pass through that 2x6. So what these folks are doing is it's essentially 7 inches of styrofoam, and they put together a method where they use aluminum to put them together. And almost all the pictures that he showed, it was just walls. So you still have typical floor, typical roof systems, but you eliminate those 2x6s. So it's insulation, duct insulation. So that's one of the reasons why it's more energy efficient. And of course, he's talking about other things like solar power and stuff like that. But it was pretty interesting. That's all I've got, unless there's questions.
Did he explain where the strength came from when they took their 2x6 up?
Well, he actually showed pictures and talked about that, and he says it's actually as strong or stronger. Like he had pictures with the wall systems up, and the newer style homes with the very big sloped roofs. Yeah, they've shown that it's as strong or stronger as using.
There's no floor plate or header or nothing?
It's all aluminum.
Oh,
And in some ways it makes sense, right? Because there are aluminum studs being used in building construction. It's not typically all the way through, because there's usually still wood there. And, I mean, there is styrofoam insulation. It's just a different, somebody came up with the thought process of making it strong enough to build with. And there were discussions also about, well, what do you do with plumbing? And they do it both ways. They either cut into the insulation, and he says it doesn't really change the R rating that much. So we go in 1.5 inches. Or they put it on the outside and then just build it out and drywall over it.
Anybody else have questions? I guess the one I had is to do with this, and I don't have it on my note here, but it's these ice building panels, and he was talking about them, and I don't know how long they've been around, but my question would be is, are they covered under the Manitoba Building Code or the National Building Code? He never said that, and I know that the question was asked about the planning districts, and it was kind of like, some of them are really hard to work with. Well, if these panels are not covered under the building codes, of course they're going to be hard to work with. So that was kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I guess we should have probably asked that question, right?
Yeah, because to me, I don't know, it seemed to me like it was a relatively new product to do it this way. And if if it's not covered under the building codes, of course, you are going to run into trouble and it will take you longer to get permits and approvals and all those sorts of things, so. Go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
Well, when you brought up the planning districts, do you remember his comments? The two hardest planning districts to
Oh,
work
I
with.
know, and I
is-
wasn't gonna get into that.
Well, I just found it Winnipeg and Red
Yeah.
River Planning District. We didn't have to think very long on that one either, so they're the hardest ones to deal
Well,
with.
and there's reasons sometimes that they are the hardest ones to deal with, so, and that's why I kind of question if there is an issue with them being covered under either the Manitoba Building Code or the National Building Code. Yeah, you are gonna run into trouble, so. Anything else for Councillor Spicer? Okay, I'm gonna go through mine. April 27th, we had a Rrpd negotiating committee meeting, and that was to kind of wrap up Selkert's departure and the date and those sorts of things. April 27th, I had the Rrpd meeting. April 29th, the John Q. Board meeting. We were updated on some of the ongoing projects. Some of the information is still confidential, and they're still working to figure out what's going to happen with RF now. Scott, can I ask you to go open that door just in case somebody is kicking around out there? Thank you. On the, they're going to start drilling again probably. That one is good, Scott.
Oh, the other one.
Thank you. April 29th, and Sandra covered this one. This was the Interlake Juried Art Show. I was just gonna say that there were 94 artists, including some youth artists, and I was thoroughly impressed with the products and the art that was showcased there. And if anybody gets a chance in the future to go, I would suggest that you go. I said a number of the artists were present, and they have to all be commended on their great work. And MP James Bazan and Mayor Larry brought greetings that evening, so. Fundraiser for the Ukraine was talked about, the WMR workshop, Scott just talked about that, financial plan hearing, Arnold West St. Paul, recreation grant awards on May the 6th. I did attend just for the dinner, the awards dinner, and it was very nice, and I think Dan was very pleased to get that award, and as Sandra had mentioned, he did get a lot of people coming up to him a little bit after the awards were done, after the lunch was done, just to have a chat. And on May the 9th, yesterday, we had the executive committee from Rrpd, and I believe Councillor Strang spoke on that one. And I have one other one, and I'm hoping that maybe I can talk somebody into doing this. On the focus on the driverless car luncheon, that's, I think it is on the 19th of May. I know that it has come before council before, and there was not much interest in going, but I said I would go, and the ticket was purchased for me. I've now run into a bind with another meeting that I have, and I was wondering if there was anybody that might have changed their mind to be interested to go to that Focus 2050 and the driverless cars. And we could talk about it after. And that's all I have. So Deepak, I'll turn it over.
That's sold out too, by the way, Deb.
Yes, it is, I realize that, but I've just got a conflict now with another meeting that I really should be at, so I'm trying to see if I can do both of them, or parts of both of them, so, like I say, if anybody's interested, the ticket is paid for already, and I do have the ticket here, so. If no one here is interested, and I have to kind of think about it a little bit, I may ask Colleen Sklar if she's got a waiting list, and perhaps we can give that ticket to somebody else, so. I just thought I'd throw it out in case somebody changed their mind. Okay, Deepak, if there's no questions for me, I'll turn it over to Deepak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The 26th, of course, was the council meeting, first reading of the bylaw, the financial plan. And on the 28th, had multiple meetings, with developers, and on the 29th, had a meeting with the emergency measures and dealt with the issues related with flood, possible flooding again. And this time we dealt with making sure that we have proper contacts with the province of Manitoba. Now we have a better method developed that our emergency coordinator has a direct line with the province of Manitoba for the local area, so that when there's issues, we know that we can get a hold of somebody and make sure. We've had some good conversations with them and addressed many of the issues, and there's still some significant outstanding issues. On Monday, May the 2nd, was the Envisioning Plan 2050 workshop number 4, as Councillor Spicer and Madam Mayor has already explained. There's some considerable amount of discussion on it. My biggest take out of that is that there might be opportunities, personally, that maybe this is the time to start having discussions around having regional utilities. Regional utility run, similar to what happens in many other provinces where you may have one regional utility providing services to multiple areas. I think there's a lot of these small water treatment plants and lagoons that are just being in a cookie cutter approach delivered everywhere, as opposed to looking at a regional level, similar to our landfill site. Another meeting with emergency measures, and then we also had a meeting on May the 3rd with the developer for doing some further consultations, which I'll fill you in on. And then we had the financial plan hearing on the 3rd, as well as on the 4th we had union negotiations and another emergency measures meeting, and then dealing with the developers of Sunset Bay Estates, which I can give you a bit of an update on. And then on Friday, had a meeting with Bill 34, which is the recreation Bill 34 for the working group. And I can update you a little bit more on that, but basically where we are, and we're continuing to meet on it. Also had a meeting with one of the developers as well on Friday. And then we're in for today.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions for our administrator today? Heather, do you have anything that you would like to share with us today? Okay, so we will move into camera now, and we'll start our in-camera session. And Glenn, just hang on for a minute once we go in camera, please.
Resolved, council recess the regular meeting and go into in-camera to discuss legal and personnel issues. And further be it resolved that all matters discussed are to remain confidential as per section 83, 1D of the Municipal Act.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, second. Councillor Bazarowicz, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried.